Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video in Wild Rift. So today we're finally back with a Samira updated complete guide, of course for the latest patch 6.0c and onwards. So here we have basically the same build as what we had in before patch 6.0. Just that Samira is not really the best in the current meta. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into the gameplay. But before I really get into the build, don't forget to check out Samira's basic guide. I'll put them in the cards right now for skills, leveling, order tips, and tricks, as well as some combos. But without further ado, let's talk about her items. So first item you want to rush, of course, is as usual is the Gluttonous Greaves for the early AD and the Omnivamp. And then your first item is going to be Collector. Now Collector is amazing on Samira. I would say the only two ADCs that Collector is amazing on is MF and Samira, and that's because aside from of course the fact that you get both crit and armor pen on the same item, which really is the main point of Collector, the Death and Taxes passive is really useful on these two champions in particular because with both of their ultimates you do many instances of small damage, and any one of these little damages could put people below 5% health and then get the Collector execute. Whereas on other champions, and let's say for example Jhin, like yeah, it's a decent item on Jhin, but you don't actually make use of the execute very well. So next item, for your second item, I like to go for Bloodthirster. Now Bloodthirster, what it gives you is it gives you the AD, the physical vamp, as well as just more stats when you're high on health. So this is basically just mainly for AD and vamp, right? You get a lot of healing, you get a lot of AD, but there is an alternative option which is actually Shield Bow. So now the main difference is that with Shield Bow, you get, of course, a lot less AD. Especially if you factor in the passive, you get a lot less AD. You do get a little bit of attack speed. You get a lot less vamp as well. But the main thing that kind of balances it out is the lifeline passive. So when you actually proc lifeline passive, you're actually gonna get a decent sized shield. And normally this is gonna happen when you're ulting in, and this is gonna normally allow you to not die while you're in your ult in the middle of the enemy team, and also it gives you extra 8% physical vamp, which then of course supersedes the 10% physical vamp of, you know, Bloodthirster. So it's actually not that bad. So but you don't really want to go for both, right? You want to choose either or. So you either want more AD or you want more safety through the shield. So it's kind of a personal decision kind of thing. Both kind of work very well for different reasons. And then you have IE just for extra damage as well as the extra crit damage, and then of course you have more reminder for the extra armor pen, not extra, but you have for the armor pen and the grievous wounds. And for the last item you have a lot of flexibility. So against very tanky teams, which is very often nowadays, I like to go for Black Cleaver. It gives you extra tankiness as well as allowing you to shred people's armor when you ult. You can also of course go for other defensive options like GA, like Maw, you know, Twin Guard, and Sterex. Sterex, especially of course if you don't have Shield Bow, Sterex last item is gonna work out. So for the runes, it's always going to be Conquer, simply because when Samira stacks up her ult, she's gonna auto stack Conquer to the max. So you're gonna prop Conquer when you ult, which is just very logical. So now here I actually made a change. I used to go for Brutal, but now especially with the Brutal rework to make it weaker in the early game and stronger in the late game, Samira doesn't benefit from Brutal very much anymore. So I've actually chosen to go for Triumph, because Triumph, of course, restores health when you get a takedown, and with Samira's identity of wanting to look for resets, this actually works out for her very well, because when she gets a reset on her dash, and she also gets a little bit of health back to continue the fight. So another thing I have also changed, we'll get to that later actually. First off, we have Giant Slayer just to, of course, deal with the tanks, which there are going to be a lot of. Of course, Bloodline for more healing. Of course, Alacrity is not very helpful here, simply because Samira is not an attack speed champion. But another thing I've changed is actually going for Bone Plating instead of Sudden Impact. Now, if you take a look at the top builds, you will see that no one actually goes for Sudden Impact anymore, except this third guy. They actually go for Eyeball Collector, which gives you extra 10 AD in the grand scheme of things. But I really don't think that 10 AD is very worth it because it takes so long to stack up. I think that the safety you get from Bone Plating in the laning phase and the late game is just way better, so I go for Bone Plating. And for the spells, you go for Flash. Most of the time, you're going to go for Cleanse, because generally, of course, you do want to pick Samira into a non-CC heavy team, but that's virtually impossible in this current meta right now. So you basically always kind of have to play her into some kind of CC. So Cleanse is there to help you out. Now there was like some games that I played into 0 CC, so that's where Barrier or Exhaust come in. Especially Barrier now with the lower cooldown and the increased shield is a lot better. So I actually think Barrier is a really good option for Samira, and of course as is Exhaust. But with all that said, now let's take a look at the gameplay itself. Okay, So let's take a look at our gameplay as usual. Of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and of course, I will be sure to address them. So the first thing I kind of wanted to cover is what took so long in making this Samira like updated complete guide. Well, basically, pretty simply, Samira is not in a very good spot right now. I actually think she's one of the worst few ADCs. I would say probably the worst would be Twitch, then maybe followed by Kalista and Samira. It's just simply that Kalista and Samira are just simply champions that do not suit the current meta, because they're very like low range champions that want to get in close and wants to you know, kind of burst squishies down, and they really are not good dealing with tanks. Now Samira mainly not because she's lacking damage, but because her damage comes from her ulti, and tanks generally have CC that can disrupt her ulti. And for Kalista, she just doesn't really deal with tanks very easily. Even though she builds full on hit, she doesn't really deal a lot of damage to tanks, right? She wants to stack up her spears and squishies, pull them out, and of course just kill them that way. So really those two are not really good in the current meta. Twitch was kind of never good anyway, so yeah, Samira and Kalista have taken a huge fall, and I kind of talked a little bit about this in the Kalista video as well, but it's kind of why Samira is not really that great. And it's pretty much unavoidable that you'll play into CC, and like you see in this game, like if we go from top lane looking all the way to bot lane, every champion literally has CC, right? You have Viego with his stun on the W, you have Lee Sin with the kick, you have Syndra with that push on her E, you have Varus with his ulti, the root, and then you have Maokai with multiple forms of CC, the root on his ulti and his W, and also the push, or the knockback, sorry, not the push, I don't know why I'm calling it the push, but the knockback on his Q as well. So pretty much we're playing into 5 champions, all with CC, so that's kind of why I put the title in the game as, in the video, as playing Samira into like a really hard, you know, really hard game. But we went for it anyway. So here, Amumu goes in, takes a pretty bad trade, and has to go out. Now, the funny thing about this Amumu support story is our mid laner, the Ahri, just kind of trolled us in Champ Select, right? Because she hovered Amumu, and the reason why she hovered Amumu was not because she wanted to play it, it's because she wanted our jungle to play it, which just doesn't make sense at all. Why would you hover what you want someone else to play? So as a result, we initially wanted to ban Amumu, but in the end we didn't. Speaking of which, here we go in. We actually block an auto as well as a E from Varus to save our Amumu's life, and as a result we are able to trade 1-for-1 with us killing the Varus and the Maokai killing Amumu, which is an amazing trade, by the way, because well, it was an amazing trade until Lee Sin comes in, kicks me in the face, and then just executes me. But it was an amazing trade because obviously we trade you know, support for ADC, and of course I got the kill, and whereas Maokai got the kill, so it was an amazing trade until Lee Sin came over and made it a bad trade. But yeah. So back to the story of what happened with the Amumu support. So as I said, Ahri was hovering Amumu support because I was hovering Amumu because she wanted the jungle to play Amumu, and as a result we wanted to ban it, but we ended up not banning it because we thought that she wanted to play Amumu mid, which is a weird pick, but I guess could work. So obviously Vi locks in Vi, and then Ahri is telling her to pick Amumu, and then like telling her to pick Amumu jungle, but Vi already locks in, and then at this point my team is getting a little bit pissed because like we wanted to ban Amumu, but we didn't, simply because we thought she wanted to play Amumu, but she didn't want to play Amumu, and she actually wanted other people to play Amumu, which doesn't really make sense at all. I mean, it's really weird behavior to go into a draft and then dictate what other people play, right? So then when it got to support picking, she was demanding that the support pick Amumu, and so in the end the support did pick Amumu, and now we have a Amumu support. Now Amumu support is actually fine because Amumu is a viable support. It's just that Amumu support is normally exclusively played with MF because the Curse of the Sad Mami bullet time combo is just OP. Like you can just toss your bandage in, ult, and then MF ults, and then MF ult will just hit for almost the full duration because of your ult. So that's kind of the main use of Amumu support. Amumu support generally is never really played with other champions, as I get ganked by Lee Sin again. This time I managed to stack up my ult, but I still die anyway. So you can see it's a horrible start to the game. We're 1-3-1, not in good shape whatsoever. As my team is now coming in, Charm goes in on Varus. Varus gets electrically proc. Vi ults Varus even though Varus already used the cleanse, and yeah, I mean Varus does die eventually, but it cost the lives of Amumu and Ari. So a little bit of a messy fight there. Varus is now 4-2, and he's 1k goal up on me. Obviously I'm 1-3, so horrible start to the game for myself. And Amumu at also 0-3, so yeah, it's definitely not going too good. Vi now doing the Mountain Dragon. Mountain Dragon, of course, means Mountain Soul, and Mountain Soul is probably the worst soul in the game. So it doesn't really matter all that much. I think you know, the Herald that Lee Sin got is way better, so Lee Sin is just snowballing himself as well. Ulti from Maokai comes in, and yeah, we're just gonna walk away. So you can see that so far it's been a tough time playing as Samira into all this CC, and we haven't really even been disrupted in our ulti yet. Just now in the fight that I didn't cover while I was busy talking about the Amumu story, you will see that I actually didn't focus Maokai and I went for Varus because I knew that Maokai would shove me away with his Q. Now Maokai hard engages onto my support, and this allows me to go in, and here I'm able to basically almost kill him with my ulti. I then get the kill on him, and then now it's a really slow auto attack battle with myself and Varus where I finally get rid of him in the long run. So we get 2 kills back, and we're able to kind of actually overtake Varus in goal, putting us like just slightly ahead, negligible amount ahead, but the 2 kills are able to help us equalize the goal deficit, and they are really huge. Brings me to the collector spike as well as getting an additional longsword. Now Samira is kind of one of those champions that in this current meta, if she's behind, she is, I won't say useless, but she's almost useless, right? I say almost because if you're a really good Samira player and you kind of wait in the back and your team doesn't just instantly die to the enemy team, like if they're very behind or whatnot, if that doesn't happen, you can always go in and clean up when the enemy team has already used all their spells. Now here, Mumu goes in on Varus, but I can't actually reach at all. Here I have to pop the W to block Maokai's ulti, which is a pretty good use of it. And here I have the ulti, I flash forward, I'm able to execute using of course the collector. And here I have full stacks on, and Varus definitely is going to be looking for a Q on me, which of course I do know. But yeah, he doesn't actually go for it because I have a lot of backup here, right? So here, we're looking to potentially execute a dive. So here Ari is pinging to attack. Syndra is waiting in the wings, so it's a little bit dangerous. I'm just going for a play. She ults in onto the Varus, and so does Vi. Varus does go down. Now Syndra gets caught under the tower. I'm able to dash on her, execute her, and then use the minions to dash back out. Now here, there's no way we're killing Maokai, right? But I'm just getting some free damage onto Maokai. But then I realized that the tower plates have fallen, and this allows us to get rid of the tower. And now Maokai is left stuck without a tower. He procs Aftershock, gets a little bit tanky, but I dash on top of his head, slowly run him down. And here you can see I'm ulting, and I get disrupted by Maokai, which is exactly what I was kind of referring to. Out of all the champions here, the easiest champions to disrupt me are definitely Maokai and Syndra, because they have really easy knockbacks that they can use. Of course, Varus has to aim his ult, and like Vega has to aim his W as well, which is not as easy. And Lee Sin has to get out real close to kick me. So if I don't ult right next to him, he should have a little bit of a tougher time. Whereas Maokai can go untargetable and reach me and then disrupt with his Q, and Syndra can disrupt from some distance away. So definitely a very tough game to play Samira, but we kind of have to wait out cooldowns, we kind of have to bide our time, and we kind of have to look for opportunities, of course, to get some work done. So as of now, if you guys take a look at the overall goal situation, we're actually relatively ahead. The only person that's more ahead than us in the game is actually Lee Sin. Of course, he's been doing a very good job of ganking. 2 of my deaths were actually from him. And here, my team is getting into a huge fight in the top lane with Varus and Maokai on the way. Myself and Amumu are not there, so they're essentially now caught in like a 2v5. And here, Set and Arya are trying to run from the hill. Surprisingly, no one has died just yet. Now the enemy team is very overextended, and we're trying to enter the fight. Amumu tosses the bandage and hits nothing. We're trying to get ourselves in there. Maokai goes in. We're stacking up on Maokai. Amumu goes in, gets a pretty nice ult. Actually, it's not a very nice ult because it only hits onto Maokai. And there you see, the moment I ulted, Syndra pushed me back, and I canceled my ult. Like, I channeled my ult for like less than 1 second there, and I basically did nothing, right? So this is why with Syndra, with Maokai on the enemy team, it's really, really difficult to play Samira, right? So that's an example of what you shouldn't be doing, which is, you know, using your ult too early or not waiting for spells to come out. The issue is that with Syndra there and with her having E, there's no one to really put pressure on her to use the E. Like, she has no reason to use the E until I ult, unless she tries to catch someone with a spear into E combo, which is unlikely, I guess. So yeah, it's kind of a game of cat and mouse in that sense, and yeah, it's not gonna work out. Now Lee Sin Madman goes into the dragon by himself for some reason. Unfortunately, I get hit by a bunch of CC. I'm not really able to do anything. Here Viego is getting some resets, and I'm trying to run away, basically. I'm trying to run to get the fruit. I have Bloodthirster, so if I can lifesteal off of something, that will be ideal as well. Unfortunately, my team is now getting run down. I'm going to have to run away as well. Viego is getting the resets, and now Set is in the middle of the enemy team. Initially here, I was thinking of running away, but Set hits a huge E and gets everyone real low, so I flash in instead. I go in, pop everybody. I'm 1 HP, I'm lifestealing off of the Krugs and Viego, and I get a triple. And now it's me versus Viego, and it ends 1v1. I missed the Q, but I'm able to collect him for the Quadra kill. And that, I think, was the game-winning fight. Actually, it's not really a game-winning fight, right? Because three people on my team died, whereas I killed 4 of them. But I guess you could say that that fight gave me a huge injection of gold. Just look at the item components that I'm getting. Huge injection of gold for me, and puts me into super fed territory. Now, at this point, this is where Samira wants to be, right? Because when she's super fed, she can actually just dash in and one-shot people. And this is where Samira is really, really dangerous. Of course, this is the most ideal state to play Samira in, and ideally you just get a bunch of kills in lane from the enemy team messing up, and you're already at this state for the rest of the game, and you can just one-shot anybody and just keep on killing people. But realistically, that's not very likely to happen. So this is like, what you see here is already kind of an insanely good scenario. Of course, as I mentioned just now as well, if you're behind, you're never really out of the game as Samira. You always have a chance that the enemy team uses all their spells on everybody else, and you're able to go in and clean up and get a pentakill. I definitely have had those a number of times myself, so the game is never really over. So here we hit 3 core with our IE completion, and we're at a solid spot, taking the red buff as well. A fight is breaking out on the other side of the map, but I don't have Hex Gate to get there, so I'm slowly making my way there, and on the way, I'm just pushing the wave to get the priority, wasting maybe like 2-3 seconds of time. But my team is actually cleaning up, and they actually kill everybody without me. So my team trades 1 for 5, and I wasn't even in the fight. So this is kind of the point that I realized that the game is probably won at this point. I mean, if my team can kill everybody without me, and I'm the most fed member of my team, the game's probably won. So here at this point, we get Baron, and I don't really have anything to buy because I just completed IE, and also I don't have enough for anything else. So I end up taking the Hex Gate down so I can get that huge wave at bot. Which the Hex Gate just spawned, and thankfully I'm able to get here before the Vi can get here and take all the minions. But here I'm able to get all the minions, and this actually gives me enough gold to get an enchant. So here I'm gonna get stasis, just in case I get caught out, and I get stuck in the middle of the enemy team or something like that. Stasis to buy some time is gonna come in handy. So I'm just gonna grab myself that, and that's the item that gives me the most value at this point, because I can't complete any items. So I'm gonna have either stasis or item components, so stasis is definitely the better option. Now here, a fight looks like it's gonna break out somewhere around here. As I suspected, they end up crossing a very dangerous area, and I'm flashing in, get the kill on Viego. I get the reset, get the ulti. Unfortunately, I can't. Unfortunately, I get chunked out by Varus and Syndra as well. Vi goes back in here, and yeah, it's getting really dangerous, so I'm kind of backing off. But I'm gonna attempt to lifesteal off of the Krugs here. And here Syndra oversteps a little bit. So here I actually go in, execute her, ulti, execute Varus, and then Maokai tries to save him, but ends up getting killed himself. So I end up getting 3 people killed. Now I thought Lee Sin was going to run here, but he actually has map awareness because he actually saw me killing everybody, and he actually runs the other direction instead. So we are not able to quite cut him off, but his whole team is dead. Other than him, and Set eventually is able to run him down and kill him, and now we have the Baron, and we can use this opportunity to push into the base, maybe even end the game. Viego is now up with his other teammates coming up in 13 seconds. Now fortunately for the enemy team, they actually have the Nexus shield, so we can't actually end the game here. I'm trying to ping the retreat because obviously we can't end the game, and there's no point trying to dive Viego. We do get the other tower though, so we get the in-hit, and on our way out, important of course the counter jungle, so we're taking the enemy wolves, see if we have anything else to take, and removing the vision. We have blue buff here, of course setting the ward down to ensure that we can see if anybody is actually coming. And then there's a ground buff as well, we're going to take that as well, make sure the enemy team has nothing, as the final dragon is going to spawn, which is actually going to be Mountain Soul for my team. I mean, as I say, Mountain Soul really doesn't matter. And yeah, I'm even farming the Krugs because Vi is not yet at the dragon. And yeah, we're just gonna pick up this dragon just to deny it from the enemy team for the most part. And if they come into contest, which they do, they're gonna get caught out. There we go. We have insane engage with Vi and Ari. And Amumu as well. And here we go in. Unfortunately, we don't have flash anymore, so we can't go over and get the Syndra. Try to dash in on her, but she dies already. And here, Varus and Lee Sin with the big brain plays to get rid of all our waves. And here we actually can kind of end. But look at where our waves are. Mid and top are completely pushed in. The bot lane wave is taking a long time to come. And I decide to just reset and go for Baron, right? Because here is really hard to end the game, right? Because now Lee Sin and Varus are going to reset. They're going to clear that wave. And it's going to be really difficult. So here I was thinking maybe I can go and try to end. But I'm like, nah, you know, that's not a good idea. Let's just go Baron, right? So pinks for Baron are indeed coming out. We want to get our lanes pushing so that it's not, so that we don't lose inhibs ourselves. And yeah, we're gonna hit over to the Baron. Maximizing our farm along the way. And here you can see Lee Sin in the general vicinity, and this is of course very dangerous. Lee Sin, of course, one of the best Baron stealers out of any jungler. However, he doesn't even launch his Q, so we are all good. I was actually trying to position near the middle of the Baron, just so I could W his Q if I need to. And here you can see we're going in with the ulti. We're just executing everybody. We get a triple here. We kill Sidra for another quadra. Second quadra of the game. And unfortunately, Viego dies there, and I don't get the Penta because someone else took the kill on Viego. Enemy team surrenders, and we get the dub. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Samira, of course, still viable in the meta, just not amazing. But thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.